Into this particular module, we are going to see out that how you can do the web scraping of an e-commerce site with the help of Selenium with Python. So in this particular module, we'll be scraping out any e-commerce site and we'll be extracting out some data from that particular site. Now, before moving further towards the topic, towards this particular project which we are going to study, first of all, let's discuss about a little bit of that what is web scraping. So if I just talk about web scraping in very simple terms, so I could actually say that it is basically extracting out some data from a website. That we actually meant as web scraping. So it's totally extracting out the data from a website.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing. So make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video. Any queries or suggestions and I will respond to your comments.
Now, what's the IDE? What is the name for this particular IDE? Let me quickly give you a little intro regarding that. So this is the IDE which is PyCharm. Okay, Pycharm. I'm particularly using out this IDE to write out today's project to perform out the web scraping of an e-commerce site. Now, according to you can just refer out any of the IDEs which you just choose out. Let's say you take out VS Code or you take Sublime or whatever you just take out. You could just choose accordingly, right? But the one which I am using, that's the PyCharm. So let me just quickly make out a new file here. So here onto this particular folder, I just want to click on new and I would just click on this Python file. Read the name for my file. I'm just giving out, let's say, web scraping with Selenium, right? Okay, Selenium, and hit enter. Right, this is how my file actually looks like. Now into this particularly, I'll be starting importing out my modules, whichever I just need out, and I'll be start importing out and writing out the further stuffs for my project right here. So as I mentioned that we are gonna do out this web scraping with the help of Selenium in Python. So in that case, the very first thing that I'll be using is I'll be as well as using out my Selenium module, right? Selenium package which we are having. I'll be just using that out here. So what I could just mention out here is that I could just write from Selenium, I could just write out here import WebDriver. Now, what is this WebDriver? We are already familiar with this particular thing. We have discussed this into the module where we discussed about the Selenium suite of tools, right? So, hope you just remember out this particular thing that what is this WebDriver, right? So from my Selenium package, which I am having from my library, which is Selenium, I'm trying to import out this particular suite of tool, which is WebDriver, because I will be using that throughout. Now, this WebDriver is completely used for the web automation, and this is what we are gonna do today, right? We will be extracting out some data from an e-commerce website, and all of these things will take place on a browser. Right, so that for that browser, we are gonna use out here the suite of tool which is WebDriver, right? Next, what I'm just going to do out here is that I'm going to write out here from, and I'm writing from Selenium dot WebDriver dot Chrome dot options import, and I'm importing out here one another function which is options. Now, from the Selenium, then WebDriver, then Chrome, and then options, I'm importing out this particular function which is options. That I'll be particularly using for getting out some options for me to just put on the like for doing out the web scraping. In that case, I'll be getting out some options from this particular package that I have written out here, right? So this is the reason that I had mentioned out this particular function, right? Next, what I'm just going to do out here is that I'm going to write that from WebDriver underscore manager dot Chrome import, and from here I'm just going to import out the Chrome Drive Manager. Now, like web scraping tools, whatever I'll be performing, all of those things will go onto the Google, because the browser which I'm choosing here is the Chrome browser, right? I'm choosing my Chrome browser. So in that case, this is the reason that I'm importing all the things related to the Chrome browser here. Right? This is only that particular reason. That's why I am importing this Chrome browser everywhere with the help of the Selenium and WebDriver. Right? In the case of any of the other browsers, the scenario will actually change out. But right here, we are going to discuss regarding the Chrome browser only. Right now, all of these must be imported out, which you have written out with me, all of these programs. Now, actually, we just need to as well install out the libraries which you have written out above. We need to install them as well, right? So here what I'll be doing is that I would be simply writing out my command which we had already discussed. Let me give you again, that is pip install. First of all, I'll be installing out my Selenium here, right? I would be writing pip install and then Selenium and then hit enter. It will actually install out this Selenium module for me. Right, for me, I have already installed that out, so it's showing that requirement already satisfied. But if you haven't done that thing till now, so for you, it will actually install out the Selenium and show you that, okay, it is successfully installed. If you are not using the PyCharm, so in PyCharm, one option is present onto the downside, that is terminal, right? But if you are not using PyCharm, if you're using any other IDE, so in that, if you do not have attached terminal, so what you could do is that you could simply open out the command prompt, and onto that command prompt, you could simply install out any of the libraries, any of the modules, any packages, whichever you are required, right? And you could just directly use them onto any of your IDE. This is the second way, right? Whatever you are comfortable with, you could just go with that particular way. Fine. Okay, this one has been installed. Now, next what I'll be installing is I'll be installing out this WebDriver underscore manager, right? So I'll be writing out here pip install, and that is WebDriver underscore manager, and hit enter. For me, this is as well satisfied. I had already installed that as well. So for me, it's showing that requirement already satisfied, right? But if you haven't done that thing till now, it will show you after some time, it will show you that successfully installed. And then you are good to go to use out all of these modules which you have imported right here. Right, hope I'm just very much clear first of all with the libraries that we are going to use and how to install them and how to import them onto this particular file. Right. Now, next procedure, okay, I will just remove that out first of all. Great. Next procedure that comes out here is that I would be making out one of my classes here. I'll be writing out here as class, right? Now, my class I'll be making out, and inside that I would be defining on the parameters which I'll be taking and extracting from that particular website, right? So class, and here in the bracket my class name is Lex. Okay, let's say that is class name is 1. Okay, simple name, right? Putting out the colon here and coming to a new line. Inside this, I'm going to define out my init function, because whenever we just make out a class, so we always define out init function. The parameters that I'll be passing inside my init function are my title and my price. So whatever the thing I am going to search out, I would be wanting the title for that particular like whatever the web scraping I'm just going to perform on whatever of the tools or whatever of the items. So for that, I want the title and I want the price as an output to me in the place of web scraping, right? So in that case, I just mentioned now these two things. Now, if you just want any other more enhancements or more features into that, so absolutely you could just put out a comma and just go ahead and use that out, right? Fine, this is actually done right here. Next, I would be performing out the next things here. So in that case, I'd be first for writing out self.title is equal to title, and next comes my self.price is equal to price, right? The title and the price are actually same out here. So in that particular case, I simply wanted out the title and the price. So I just mentioned both of these things here into this bracket, into the, and pass them as a parameter for me. Now, whatever else things you just want out, let's say you want out the ratings or you just want out the reviews, whatever you just want to go ahead with, you could just put them and you could just get them here as well. The procedure would absolutely remain out the same, which I had mentioned out. Right, hope you are now very much clear first of all with this particular class, that what I have done inside that. Coming out of my class, and here comes use of and the making of my second class. Right, and the name for that class I'm just gonna give out here as, right. Coming down, and here I would be now making out my first function. At this particular place, I'm making out my very first function. Now, what will that function actually do? Let's see. Let's say data. Data is the name for my function which I have written out here. Now, whenever I just pass out or make out any of the functions inside my class, so that in that the self parameter automatically gets passed out. So I do not need to do that thing manually here. It automatically gets and passed as a parameter for me inside any of the functions which I am making. Right, so the self is as well the same thing here. Putting out in comma here, and here I'll be writing out the name. What is this name for? So this name would actually get me out that I was just mentioning out that okay, I just want this as a name. Whatever the search I want to perform out, so I'll be putting that particular name of that particular product for which I just want to perform the search on. Right, so that would be stored in this particular parameter, in this particular variable, that is name. Coming to the news line. Here I'll be defining out 3 to 4 variables and assigning out some values to them. Why I am doing out these things, that would be getting to know in a little while, right? So count is equal to 1. Count is one of my variables which I am making and assigning it the value as 1. Next, I am having my variable as page and assigning that as a value of 1. Next, I have page increment. Okay, not page increment, let that be in the sense of add underscore page. Right, let me just come down here. Fine. This would be having the value which is set. Now it means that whatever the product I have searched for, so into that I just want the this much of pages to come as an output for me. That's the actual reason that why I had just used out this add underscore page. Right. And now I'll be using out here my next variable, that is maximum, and that would be 100. So this maximum is a variable which will store that okay, how many total maximum retrieves you could do for one particular time. So the final limit for that is actually 100, not more than that. Okay, right. Then I'll be declaring out one empty array. Okay, I'm just making out an empty list. So inside that we'll be storing some things afterwards, not right here. Okay, so for that I'll be just declaring, let's say, my underscore list, and I'll just make it that empty right here. I would store nothing at this particular place into this. Right, this all is done. Now here comes the very important part of one of my projects, that is putting out the URL for which you want to perform out the web scraping. Right, now the URL, the e-commerce site which I have chosen here for performing out the this particular web scraping is amazon.com. Right, so I'll be entering out the URL for that particular website here. So I will be putting out here the URL, that is https, putting out the colon, / and that would be www.amazon.com. Right, and after that even we had some things like that is question A is equal to, right, this is the complete URL which comes out here. Mention that particular thing. After that I'll be putting out one plus sign here and writing out one name here. Now this name would actually constitute and actually will have the name of my URL, that the product which I am searching onto this particular URL. This name is a variable that will store that particular product name. Right. Yes. Here I would be having another thing, that is ampersand page. is equal to, after that again put out a plus sign. Here comes the str, and into the bracket comes out the page. Right. So let me show you what I have written out here. So this is my first of all URL that I would be using out. This name will store and hold out the product name for which I am going to search out. This ampersand page is equal to, this is one of the another parameters, one of the another you could say add-ons which we have onto our URL. So I just put on that particular thing as well. And at last here I have str page. That is basically what's the page number on which you are actually right here. So it's that particular number at this place. Right, so hope you now just got out this particular statement which I had written out here, which is this particular URL is equal to. Now, what is this now? I'll be making out one another variable. So that variable will store out my options function which we have imported above. Remember, let me show you as well. Here we had imported out one of the functions which was options from the Selenium WebDriver.chrome. Right, from this place we have imported this out. So the variable which I am going to define out here, it would be storing out that particular function. So let's say that is my underscore options is equal to, and here comes my function which is options right here, and putting out the brackets like this. Fine. This is how we just do out the particular things. Now coming to the new line, here what I would be just doing is that I will be putting on my underscore options dot, and here goes the headless. Okay, headless. Now this headless is one another function which we have out here into this options function. And what is that actually used out for? So putting out headless is equal to, and I'll be setting that as false. Right, now this thing has been actually completed out here at this place. Now coming to the new line, I'll be setting out some another parameters as well. Again, I'll be entering out my underscore options dot. Now here I'll be using at underscore experimental option. Right, and into this I'll be using out detach, putting out a comma here. Let me just come down. Okay, and here setting that out as true. Now what do I just meant from this particular line which I had mentioned out? So I just want that whatever the like web scraping we just do out onto that particular URL which is mentioned here. So in that case, I just want that one after the other, everything, whatever the functions and whatever the similar products are there, they should be opened one after the other. Right, so in that case, we just use out this experimental option. Right, coming to the new line here, now I'll be setting out my browser. So my underscore browser. Right, we have imported out above, but not set that at particular place. So here downside, I would be setting out my browser. So into that case, I have WebDriver dot, here comes my Chrome browser. Into the bracket, we'll be using that Chrome driver manager like module, the function which we have imported above. Putting out, okay, yeah, putting out the brackets, then dot, and here comes the install. So it will basically install this particular thing for you. Then a comma comes, and here we'll be using the options. This options is my parameter which we have inside this particular Chrome function. See, try to understand that between what are the functions and what are the parameters. Functions are the ones inside which you basically put on the parameters. Inside the functions, you put out the parameters, right? This is the idea between them. Now, just please don't get confused here when I just say about functions or when I just say about the parameters. Right, and into this I'll be passing on that variable which we had made. That was my underscore options. Right, that is finished up. Next comes my underscore browser dot maximize. Now, what will this maximize function would actually do? It will help me to maximize out the browser window which is there. Okay, just maximize underscore window. It will help me to maximize out my browser window. Let's say not right here, but yeah, when I would just run out my program, when it is completed, I would run out my program. So at that particular place, if my window is in a short way or it is in a basically in a smaller size, So it will automatically maximize out my window for the Chrome browser, and then it will start doing out the web scraping and getting me out the results for the product which we have mentioned out. Right, hope you just got this particular thing right clear. Coming to the new line, I'll be writing my underscore browser dot get and in the bracket URL. Okay, that's URL. The URL is basically the variable in which we had set out that for what for what website, for what e-commerce site you just want to perform out the web scraping. So I just want to do it for Amazon. So the website for the same I have stored in the variable which is URL. So inside this get function I am passing that same variable here, right? Next comes here browser dot set underscore, okay, that's not browser, that's my underscore browser dot set underscore page underscore load underscore timeout. Into the bracket, I'm just going to give out the timeout, let's say 12. What it will do, as soon as my browser is opened, as soon as my browser which I mentioned that is opened, it has opened out the URL, and even whatever the product I was searching for, that products have been opened. So what it will do, it will automatically go one by one onto all of the products, open that onto a bigger screen, onto a new tab, open them out, and then we'll get out the title and the price for that. So all these things which would be happening, I just want that particular new page that would be open for a particular product. I want that page to stay for 12 seconds. Now this 12 is basically the value in actually seconds. It's not in minutes or hours. It's in seconds. So I want that new page which would be opened for the displaying of one of my products in a detailed way. I just want that page to stay open for 12 seconds. So that is the reason I just mentioned out here as well. Now again I would say it's your choice what time you just want to put on. You could just put that according to your choice. Right, that is done. Here comes, I'll be applying out my while loop, and here comes my condition that is true. It means that I had applied out one of my infinite loops here. While true means that I am applying out my infinite loop. Right, inside this, I would be going ahead with my try and except function. Maybe you are familiar with the exception handling. So in that, this try and except are the functions which come. So if my code of the block of the code, if that is absolutely error free, so my try block will run. And if there is some error, so my except block will run and create some exceptions for me. This is the whole idea regarding this. Coming to the new line, I'll be applying out my condition. That if, okay. Let's check out the variables first, maximum and add page. Okay, so if here comes the maximum, right, multiplication, and here comes the page, right, is greater than, okay, this is, okay, maximum would not come here, the one would come is add underscore page, and if it that is greater than maximum. See what condition I have applied, that whatever the value we have given in the add underscore page, it means adding out this much number of pages, right? If that multiplication page, so if that 10 multiplication 1 is greater than maximum, is basically is if that is greater than 100. So in that case, now what do I need to do? I simply need to break out my statement from this particular place, because I do not want out that particular thing to happen out, right? I just want that whatever the functions or whatever the things I have given out here, I just want that add underscore page multiplication page should be less than maximum. They should not exceed out this particular maximum limit, because if that would be exceeded out the maximum limit, so it will automatically come out of my page and of my browser as well. It will quit out that particular browser, and I do not want out that particular thing. So in that same case, I just applied out this if condition, right? Now next comes my another condition. Now if count is greater than add underscore page. Now what's the count one which we have described now? So count was 1. right? Now, if that is greater than this add underscore page, as I mentioned that we only have assigned the add page value is 10. It means that we only want that 10 pages. So in that case, if the count of that is greater, so in that case, I just want to apply out here count is equal to 1 and page is equal to page plus 1. This is how I would be applying out the things, right? Count is equal to 1 and the page is equal to page plus 1. Right, hope you just got out this particular idea. I'd be incrementing out the pages in this particular case. Now, this all is actually okay. This all is set up. Now, what we'll be doing is that now we'll be going on to that particular website from which we would just want to perform out the things. And from there, we would be extracting out some links, some data, and then we'll be coming back to this particular PyCharm ID to put on all of those things. But before that, I'll be just putting on one of the variable that is title underscore path. Right. So let's go on to that particular place. I would be just opening out my Google right here and I would be going to Amazon right here at this particular place, right? Yeah, that particular website would be opened. Okay, Amazon, hit enter, right? So as soon as I just redirected to this particular page, I would be opening out the link for the Amazon and here it is. So this would open out the e-commerce website that we are gonna perform on the web scraping, and that is amazon.com. So from this, okay, now at this particular place above, I would be searching out whatever first of all I just want to search for. Let's say I just want to do out this web scraping. Let's say I just want to do out this web scraping for iPhone 12. Right, so I just opened out that particular project onto this particular website. That is iPhone 12. Now here we just got out the various things here. Okay, I would be just performing out the things for this particular one. Okay, new Apple iPhone 12 and that is 128 GB wide, right? How to get out the data for this particular? First of all, just go on to this link, the name which is present above, just go on to this link and do out the right click. Here you get an option for the inspect, right? You just clicked on that particular option. Check out here that onto the other and you can just say out that on the right hand side, you just got out some things mentioned at this place, right? As little bit of code has been come out at this particular place. See, here we have this span class, A size medium, A color base, A text normal, new Apple iPhone 12, 128 GB wide. This is the place where this particular title has been defined out. If I just go onto this place and just have a look, if I hover the cursor, so in that case onto the that name for the Apple iPhone, you are able to see span A size medium. So this is the place where the title for this is being defined. What I want as an output, I want the title and even I want the price as well. So now I'll be doing out the right click here, going on to this copy option and clicking on this copy X path, right? I have just copied out that particular path. Coming back to my PyCharm ID, putting out the inverted commas and saving out that particular path here. This is how we are going to perform out this web scraping thing here. Let me just come down first of all. And yeah. So this is how I just pasted out the title path. Now you could just choose any required, any of your choices here for the product, whichever you just want to perform for. And you could just go ahead with that. Here we just want to and we just actually need to make out a little bit of change here. So let's see that what are the changes that are required at this particular place. So here after this particular, I'll be removing out this 5 from here. Inside this, putting out the again inverted commas, and inside that inverted commas, putting out first of all the plus sign. Here comes the str. Now I'll be defining out my count function here, so that is count. After that, again putting out a plus sign and giving out the space. This is the one another thing which I just wanted to add out here inside this title path. Right, so just make sure that you just add on these things onto the correct position, not here and there, right? Okay. Now just coming on to a new line, this title has been defined. After this, what I would be just doing is that I would be mentioning out here. Okay, so that is simply I'm just making out a variable that is title and setting that to as okay my underscore browser dot find element by XPath. Right. Okay. And inside that my variable which I have set the XPath for, and that is title underscore path. Whatever the things, whatever the product and whatever the title for that particular product and the price we are searching, we are searching that according to this XPath. Right. We are just copied out the things. So onto that I had gone to that option that is copy XPath. Right. So we are doing out this thing with this particular XPath function. That's the reason I had used on this particular function right here. Right, this is the reason for that. The title underscore path is my variable in which I had set out my XPath for my iPhone 12 which I want to search for. And that's actually done. Right, coming to the new line. I'll be writing here title underscore text as my variable, putting out equal to sign. Here comes my title dot get attribute, and here comes my inner HTML. Right, so get attribute inner HTML. Okay, spelling is reverse, that is HTML like this. Putting out a dot and using out my split function for splitting, split lines function for splitting out the lines there and putting out the index and giving that as 0 at this particular place. Right, hope you just are okay with this particular thing. And at last, that would be title dot that as soon as you click out the title, so you just get out the information regarding those things whichever you are just wanting for. Right, hope you are now clear with this as well. So as we have done for the title, same procedure we would be applying for the price as well. So I'm writing out here price underscore path, and that is equal to putting out the inverted commas. Now let's go and search out for the price for this. So yeah, this was the one. Let's open that out onto the new tab here. So yeah, let's let that open. And yeah, now just coming down at this place onto the other side here. Right here, just clicking onto this particular and going on to the inspect option. Again, we would be getting out this class here. Now this one is the particular line which is getting me out the price, which this is the line onto which the price has been set out. Right. So I would just again do the right click on this, click on the copy and click on the XPath option. Fine. So yeah, that has been again copied for me and I will be pasting that here. Okay, so this is one of the parts for me which has been actually pasted out here. Let me just once again go to the Google and click on this particular, and right here let me just click on this, click on copy XPath, and just let me put out a comment above. Just 1 second, let me go to the other side here and doing the tab spaces here and getting out a space and copying that out right here. Fine. So yeah, this is okay. Let me now just remove that out. I will just tallying out that the path which we have mentioned that is actually picking the correct one or not. So yeah, it's doing right. So that is completely done out at this particular place. Now I'll be coming down to the new line once again. Right now, okay, I would just make out first of all some changes right here. The one which we have copied out, I'll be making out a little change here. I would just not put that in this particular place. First of all, I'm just giving out a general option 1. That is a general option. I'm just putting that out. And as soon as when we just run out our program, in that case, afterwards, I'll be putting on the real one. Right. So that is actually the price block underscore. That is our price. Right. That is that. Coming to the new line. That path has been set out here. Now I just want to put on the price variable. So that is my price variable that comes out equal to, and here goes my underscore browser dot The same things which you have written out above, inside that comes the price underscore path. Okay, let me write that as well. So here comes the same. Coming to the new line, here comes the price text. So that is price underscore text is equal to, and one single equal to sign. To that I could simply set out the price dot get underscore attribute into the bracket. It's the inner HTML, like this, right? Let me just get down here. Coming to the new line, I would be setting out some other things as well here. So yeah, okay, this was all for the price here. Okay, now I'm just coming down again to the new line. I would be setting out once again my URL, so that would be equal to the one which we have copied above. I would just write that again here, http:// here comes www.amazon.com, and then we are having a slash, we are having s, putting out the question mark, and then k. That is equal to, now what I just want to search for, I just want to search for the iPhone 12. So here comes iPhone plus 12. This is how it's gonna be, right? Put on the plus sign, and here comes my str. Okay, I would just not do that plus str page. I just do not want to do that, right? Thank you. Okay. Coming to the new line, I would be using my underscore browser dot get, and comes out my URL function here. Again, I would be now setting out my load page. So my underscore browser dot set page load timeout, and again I'll be setting that as 12 as we have done previously, right? And now I'll be making out one variable, that is my underscore info, and setting that as, calling out my first function here, which was, okay, let's go and see what was the first function. That was 1. So now I'll be calling out my function at this particular place, 1, putting out the bracket, inside that my variables, which are title underscore text, comma price underscore text, title text and the price text, right? So hope you just got out this particular thing. Coming to the new line here, I would be setting out, what's the one? Fine, we had used the my underscore list. Okay, so I'll be using my underscore list, putting out a dot here, and using out my append function. Append means to add something, and inside that my append function, my underscore info would go, right? Coming down and using out my count function. So count is equal to count plus 1. Count is equal to count plus 1, right? This was about the try function. So here we just completed out the try function. Okay, just let me copy this so that I am able to see out the alignment that we have to finish up right here. Okay, here at this place comes my exception. So for exception we write out except, we just put on exception as E, right? This is the one which comes out here, which is except exception as E. Just let me go above for a while. Try here in alignment. Yes, it's okay. I'll be printing out one statement here. Print as soon as if any exception has been raised. So I'll be writing that exception on the count number, and I'll be displaying out that count number where the exception has been occurred. So it would be easy for us to go ahead and solve that out, right? So here comes the count is equal to count plus 1 that I have done at this place, and my again condition comes that if the ones which we have applied above that are the same one. Let me see that what was the name. Okay, add underscore page. Fine. So if add underscore page multiplication page is greater than the maximum, right? Is greater than the maximum. So at that place break out the condition, and if this is not the case, in that case if the count is greater than add underscore page, so in that case set out the count is equal to 1, and even set out the page as well. So page is equal to page plus 1, right? This is what has to be confirmed right here. And after that, here this all is set up. After this, I would be just simply setting out the URL. Okay, URL for this accept function. So if comes here URL is equal to, let me just copy the same things from above. I will just not repeat that again here. So yeah, Control C, coming down and pasting down here, fine. And my variable is my underscore browser dot get. In the bracket we are having the URL. Coming to the new line, again I'd be using my underscore browser dot set page load timeout, and that would be again 12 for me, right? Previously we had entered 12, so again I would just give out the same as well. Okay, so now I'm just coming out of my functions and I'll be writing out here that my underscore browser dot close. After all of these functions have been performed, let's close out my browser at that particular place. And what to return me as an output, let me just check out where it has gone. That was my underscore list, right? Yeah, my underscore list. And come to the new line and write out here my return statement, return, and that's my underscore list, right? So hope you just got out this particular all of the things which I have written out. And it's the time for calling out my function. So okay, let me just go back, and here I'll be calling out my function, the second function which we have mentioned out actually. So in that case I would be having, let's say, fun underscore call, let's say my variable name, right? And into that I'll be calling the function which is the 1 second one was 2, right? Let me just check out that thing once again. Yeah, sorry, I was like using out my class. I'll be making out the object for my class. I'm sorry, I was just mentioning about the function, but no, we had made out the class. This fun underscore call, this is basically the function, sorry, the object for my class which I had just made out at this particular place. Now after this we have one more thing, that is you could just save out your data whatever you have just mentioned, and you could just save that inside the function, sorry, inside a particular txt file. But yeah, that thing as we will be seeing, but in a little while. Now basically it's the time for running out the program which we had written out here. Let's run that out and see that what are the things that we are getting here, any error, or is that working absolutely right. So let's run that out here. So to basically run out anything onto the PyCharm, what we just do, we onto the blank space, we just do out the right click and click on this run option. So here onto this downside, you just get out your result. But right now here we are not getting, because I need to define out a file, and into that file all of these things would be saved, a CSV file. Then only the things would be actually working out. Okay. So for that, first of all, I just need to import out a function above, import out a module, that is CSV. I would just mention out here import CSV, right? This is how you just will be doing out. Coming to the program and coming outside. Now with the help of the with block, I'll be just using out and performing out some file handling techniques here as well, that would help me to fetch out the data, right? I'm just using out open here. I'll be making out one file, but I haven't made that thing till now, so I'll just automatically do it. Let's say 1.csv. So if you're just writing out any file name here and that has not been previously made, so it will automatically make the one for you. Okay, so yeah, this is the case. Putting out a comma here, and in which mode you just want to open, I just want to open it in the right mode. Fine. Putting out a comma, and I just want the things to appear in new lines, so I'm just using out this new line parameter. And what encoding you just want out here, so the encoding which I want is actually UTF-8, right? So that thing is again mentioned out here at this place. Now after this, as CSV file, because that's a CSV file, I just need to put on that thing as well here, right? That all of the things are being set up. Now here I would be using out a variable. I'll be making out and declaring out a new variable at this particular place, right? So okay, so let's say that is data, right? So data is equal to, I would be just now either setting it out as CSV dot Here comes my writer function which we have. So we just need to write out into the CSV file. So here comes my CSV file, putting out a comma. We have one function here that is delimiter. Okay, that is delimiter. Okay, delimiter. Yeah, delimiter. Right? We just set that at to limit. So whatever the things will be entered there, after that I just want this colon to come. So that's the reason I just put on that particular thing. Putting out a comma, and here comes the quote right? Quote character that is equal to, I'll be setting that as double inverted quotes, putting out once again a comma, and here goes my quoting technique which I just want to do. So yeah, I could just set that as CSV dot quote underscore minimal. So this is one another function which we have out here, which is quote underscore minimal. Right, these things are set up. Now I would be just using my for loop. So for data in fetcher dot article. So for data in fetcher dot okay, that's the for data in fun underscore call dot okay, it's not this data, it's I could just simply write out here, let's say article. So for article in fun underscore call dot data, put out the bracket, and what's my article name which I just want to give out. So that's for me is iPhone 12, right? This was the one name. Just put out that here, and inside the bracket here comes my variable that is data, put out a dot, and right now here it's the right row. Now we just want to put out the different things in the row, so in that case it comes the right row. Putting out the bracket and the large sign here, I was just mentioning out here as that article variable which we had put on, dot the title we have, comma, we want the price for that. So article dot price as well, right? So hope you just got out the idea very much clearly, that how are these tools used and what are these locators, and regarding all of the topics which we have discussed. So this is all for this module. Till then, thank you and take care.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing. So make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video. Any queries or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.